Have you ever wondered, could the woman I love ever betray me? It sounds painful, I know. But the truth is, before a woman cheats, she leaves behind tiny, seemingly harmless signs, like breadcrumbs in the woods. If you're not paying attention, you'll never see them. Most men miss these signs, not because they're foolish, but because they're too in love, too trusting, or too hopeful. Love clouds their vision, making them blind to the silent storm approaching. But what if you could spot those signs before your heart breaks? This isn't guesswork. It's the uncomfortable truth, rooted in female psychology, sharpened by the quiet strength of Stoicism. Stay sharp, because what you're about to hear might just be the shield that saves you from emotional devastation. And if you're thinking, no way, my girl would never do that, you might want to buckle up, because she might just be the star of this story. Sign number one: emotional distance begins to grow. In Stoic philosophy, emotional detachment is seen as a strength. But in a relationship, when that detachment shows up unexpectedly, it's a quiet warning shot. A woman who cheats doesn't emotionally vanish overnight. It's a slow fade. First, the sweet texts turn cold. Then long conversations turn into short robotic replies. The little things, checking in, complimenting you, laughing at your stories, start disappearing. Her eyes used to light up when you walked into the room. Now they avoid yours. She's there, but not really, like a ghost haunting her own relationship. Women are emotional beings. If she's cheating, her heart has likely left long before her body does. She creates emotional space to justify her actions because she can't face the internal contradiction. So she starts to pull away. It's not that she's just tired. It's not Mercury in retrograde. It's emotional detachment layered with guilt. From a psychological perspective, when someone withdraws emotionally, it often means they're already investing elsewhere, mentally or emotionally. And once another person begins meeting their emotional needs, the original partner feels more like a burden than a bond. But emotional distance, that's just the first crack in the mask. What happens when her time starts becoming a mystery? Let's talk about that next, because when time stops making sense, the truth often starts to show. Previously, we talked about emotional distance, the first quiet crack in the foundation of a relationship. But that's just the beginning. When the heart starts pulling away, time begins to lie. Sign number two: her schedule becomes a maze. One day, you start hearing things like, I lost track of time, my phone died, I just needed some space. Sounds innocent enough, right? But to a man who understands, who watches without judgment like a Stoic philosopher, these are worth paying attention to. You don't need to confront, just observe. As Epictetus once said, what appears are impressions, not facts, but sometimes they foreshadow the truth. She says she went to Target for 3 hours and came back without a single shopping bag. Sure, unless she was battling the entire Roman army just to pick out a bottle of shampoo. Here's the trick: cheaters rarely lie outright. Instead, they build stories that sound just plausible enough to slip past your suspicion filter. A believable excuse, just reasonable enough to make you feel like the paranoid one. But then, it gets colder. Sign number three: sudden need for privacy, and her phone becomes off limits. Her phone used to be just a phone. Now it's like Fort Knox. She used to leave it lying on the couch. Now it's glued to her hand, face down, locked, always on silent. She giggles at a text, but you're not allowed to see it. She guards her phone like it holds nuclear launch codes. You reach for it, and she reacts like you just tried to defuse a live bomb. From the lens of female psychology, secrecy often signals emotional displacement. She might not have cheated physically yet, but emotionally, she's already nurturing a new connection and feels the need to protect it. Think of emotional cheating as a gateway drug. It starts with innocent messages and slowly evolves into digital intimacy. And sometimes that's more dangerous than physical infidelity. You ask to borrow her phone, and suddenly she turns into John Wick. Not because you're wrong, but because now she has something to lose. As a stoic man, your role isn't to panic. Don't chase what she hides. Observe, remain calm. Jealousy clouds judgment, but truth becomes visible when you keep your composure. But what happens when she's not just hiding the truth? She's rewriting it to make you feel like the problem? Get ready, because the next sign isn't just about betrayal, it's about manipulation, and it can damage more than your heart. It can break your mind. Let's talk about gaslighting. Previously, We explored how manipulation, gaslighting can make you doubt your own reality. But what's even more dangerous? When she uses a smile to hide the knife. Sign number 4, gaslighting and psychological reversal. You caught her whispering with a coworker at 11 p.m., and somehow you're the one apologizing for being insecure. Even Houdini couldn't pull off a trick like that. She builds an alternate reality, one where your confusion becomes her cover. You're too disoriented to confront the truth, and that gives her the perfect space to keep doing what she's doing without consequence. But when the guilt creeps in, she doesn't confess, she overcorrects. Sign number 5, unusual kindness and over-affection. This one confuses men the most because suddenly she seems perfect. More kisses, more compliments, unexpected gifts. She becomes unusually attentive, plans date nights, sends sweet texts. From the outside, it looks like the relationship is thriving, but deep down, it just feels off. That's because this affection isn't born from love, it's born from guilt. In guilt psychology, people tend to overcompensate to preserve their self-image. Women especially struggle with the contradiction between who they are and what they've done, so they try to balance the scale. She tells herself, if I'm being extra loving, then I'm not a bad person. And then she drowns you in affection, not to strengthen the bond, but to ease her conscience. Don't be fooled by sweet gestures dressed in betrayal. As Marcus Aurelius once said, the closer a man is to the truth, the clearer he must see through the fog of pleasure. She went from cold and distant to cuddly and clingy overnight. That's not growth. That's guilt in disguise. And finally, sign number 6, the last mask. And it's never subtle. It's explosive. Sign number 6, she ends it first, or forces you to. When things hit a breaking point, she'll want out, but on her terms. So what does she do? She manufactures drama, accuses you of being the problem, or worse, drops the classic line, maybe we should take a break. This is projection. She wants to leave, but doesn't want to be seen as the villain. So she pushes you to the edge until you're the one who walks away. She might pick fights, weaponize your insecurities, sabotage the relationship until you can't take it anymore. And when you finally leave, she plays the victim. It's a tactic. Create the chaos, then blame you for the fallout. Don't beg. Don't plead. A woman who wants to leave has already left emotionally. The Stoic response? Stand tall. Walk away with grace. Let your silence speak the pain your words never could. She drops the I need space bomb right after a mysterious weekend away. Coincidence? Only if you still believe in unicorns. But now comes the deeper question. Why do so many men miss these signs? Why don't they see the truth until it's too late? That's exactly what we'll explore next.